Hollywood's hidden scandals are more shocking than any movie plot. Today, we're diving into the most disturbing stories of the industry's worst perverts. From actors to directors, you won't believe the secrets some of these stars kept. Number 35. Dan Schneider.
So I found out, I knew that September 8th was the day that iCarly premiered in 2007.
He created some of your favorite Nickelodeon shows, but behind the scenes, Schneider's temper and bizarre behavior raised eyebrows. Fans are still left wondering what was really going on behind closed doors. While Dan Schneider is the creator of popular and lucrative Nickelodeon shows like iCarly, that did not stop the network from cutting ties with him in March 2018. While Nickelodeon released a statement saying that it was a mutual decision, was there more to the story? Deadline reported that Schneider was the recipient of multiple complaints regarding inappropriate behavior. In addition to his tendency to lose his temper on set, Schneider allegedly also had a less than innocent fondness for feet. The children's television mogul had a habit of posting bizarre pictures of young stars' feet on social media. Number 34. Charles Lawton.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, I feel I must defend my distinguished colleague from Illinois.
You know him as an iconic actor, but his secret life was anything but glamorous. Scotty Bowers exposed Lawton's hidden fetish, revealing stories that'll leave you stunned. Scotty Bowers claims to have slept with or arranged sexual liaisons for hundreds of the best-known celebrities in the golden age of Hollywood. In one of his most shocking stories, he reveals the secret fetish of British actor Charles Lawton. According to Bowers, the actor asked him to come over to his house with a hot, young male guest for him to spend some time with while his wife was out. When Bowers and the young man arrived, Lawton started making a sandwich, slicing up lettuce and tomatoes, and arranging them on sourdough bread with a bit of lemon juice and some salt and pepper. Finally, after a few minutes of prep work, the actor took the bread slices in one hand, picked up a pot with another, and asked the young man to follow him into the bathroom. This is what happened next, according to Bowers. Charles was the first to return. He put the plate with the bread slices on the kitchen table. I could see that the lettuce and tomatoes had been slightly smeared with a light brown substance. Seconds later, Ted appeared in the kitchen. His erection was gone and he was looking decidedly sheepish, perhaps even a trifle embarrassed. I stared at him curiously and he pulled a face, hoping that Charles wouldn't notice. He pointed at the bread slices on the plate and then lightly patted his backside. And then he ate the sandwich. Number 33. Morgan Freeman.
No.
Through the wormhole with Morgan Freeman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I apologize.
The voice of God? Not quite. Freeman's charm on screen was shadowed by disturbing accusations from multiple women. 8 women, including a production assistant and a production staff member, accused Morgan Freeman of sexually harassing them and making comments about their bodies on the set of various films, including Now You See Me. Number 32. Ramon Navarro.
If you agree, then I agree, we all agree together.
He has said it.
You know the name from the golden age of Hollywood, but his life off camera ended in a brutal and disturbing way. Because of their flamboyance on and off screen, rumors began to swirl that both Ramon Navarro and Rudolph Valentino were closeted homosexuals. The rumor was true for Navarro, but not for Valentino. His alleged homosexuality was a legend that chased him his entire life. Still, it didn't take long before the two stars were linked as lovers, with one interviewer claiming that Navarro had secretly admitted the affair to Cary Grant. That's where the dildo rumor comes in. Valentino may or may not have gifted Navarro with an Art Deco model of his penis, which Navarro kept on his nightstand. The model would later become part of a graphic tragedy. In 1968, Navarro was brutally murdered by 2 petty criminals in the bedroom of his Los Angeles ranch house. Details about the case vary wildly from report to report, but one of the most widely accepted details is that Navarro choked on his own blood after the 2 hustlers shoved the dildo down his throat. The motive for such a horrific crime? A paltry $5,000, which the murderers had heard was hidden in the actor's home. Number 31. Dustin Hoffman.
For you to call anybody up that's famous to bring about, we have one request, and they wanted to meet Adam Sandler.
Here's an Oscar-winning actor with a dark past that spans decades. Hoffman's reputation was tarnished by numerous allegations, from exposing himself to young women to unwanted advances. Hoffman, now 80, has 7 Oscar nominations for films including The Graduate, Tootsie, and Kramer vs. Kramer. He's won twice for Kramer vs. Kramer and Rain Man. The accusations against Hoffman span decades and range from alleged sexual harassment to inappropriate touching and sexual assault. Several women claim that Hoffman exposed himself to them when they were teenagers. Number 30. Sylvester Stallone.
Yo, Adrian, you hungry?
He played the ultimate action hero, but off-screen, a darker story emerged. A police report from the 80s alleged the actor and his now-deceased bodyguard intimidated a 16-year-old girl to have sex with them at a Las Vegas hotel. The girl decided not to press charges at the time. Number 29. Peter Yarrow.
What a nice surprise. He sees a lot of coal.
His music may be timeless, but his actions were unforgivable. Peter Yarrow is the Peter in Peter, Paul, and Mary, and the guy who wrote Puff the Magic Dragon, a song beloved by children and 19-year-olds who say dude everywhere. He also wrote the children's book It's Raining, It's Pouring. In 1970, Yarrow was convicted of taking improper liberties with a 14-year-old girl who went to his hotel room after a show seeking an autograph. Yarrow served 3 months in jail, but was pardoned by Jimmy Carter in 1981. Number 28. Ed Westwick.
Can I tell you, I had no idea until today that you were from England.
I am. I'm from Hertfordshire, yeah.
Boy, were you...
At 28, we have Ed Westwick, known for playing the charming bad boy on Gossip Girl. But behind the scenes, Westwick faced accusations far more sinister than his character. The actor, who played Chuck Bass on Gossip Girl, was accused of sexually assaulting an actress named Christina Cohen. Cohen said her former boyfriend took her to Westwick's apartment. Westwick said, "We should all fuck." Cohen was uncomfortable and wasn't feeling well, so she went to take a nap in a guest room. That's when Westwick allegedly followed her into the room and assaulted her. Her then-boyfriend told her not to report the incident as it could ruin her career. The allegations were posted to BuzzFeed and later removed from their site, but the LAPD has now opened an investigation into the assault that allegedly took place in 2014. Westwick denies knowing Cohen and says he has never forced himself on anyone. Number 27. Steven Seagal. The action star was more than just a tough guy on screen. His real-life actions were far more disturbing. Seagal was accused of sexual misconduct by a number of women, including Jenny McCarthy, who said he harassed her at an audition in 1995, and Portia de Rossi, who said he unzipped his pants during an audition with her. He denied the allegations and was never charged with any crimes. Seagal has not yet responded to Margulis's allegations. Number 26. Brian Peck.
We are going to take you around to some of the locations where we shot the movie many years ago. Have you been to any of these locations recently?
Peck worked closely with child actors at Nickelodeon even after being convicted of assaulting a minor. Mark Collins Rector is not even the only convicted pedophile associated with Singer. There's also Brian Peck, who played a minor role in Singer's X-Men. Singer cast Peck again in X-Men 2, which was a strange choice for a movie about gifted youngsters. After all, between the two movies, Peck went to jail for assaulting a 15-year-old. Peck also worked as a dialogue coach, often working with companies like Nickelodeon to coach child actors. He spent 6 months having a sexual affair with an unnamed child actor on Amanda Bynes' The Amanda Show until the family charged him with sexual assault in 2001. Number 25. Charlie Rose.
Great place to be. That's what it says to me. When I thought of all that stuff, and I said, what more would you rather do in the morning than get...
The famous TV journalist was accused by multiple women for sexual harassment and lewd phone calls. CBS terminated his contract, and PBS canceled his show. Rose employed a lot of young women behind the scenes on his show. They became known as Charlie's Angels. Most of the women said Rose alternated between fury and flattery in his interactions with them. 5 described Rose putting his hand on their legs, sometimes their upper thigh, in what they perceived as a test to gauge their reactions. 2 said that while they were working for Rose at his residences or were traveling with him on business, he emerged from the shower and walked naked in front of them. 1 said he groped her buttocks at a staff party. Number 24. Ronald Reagan.
In history, the language of arms control was replaced by arms reduction.
Ronald Reagan is better remembered for his life in politics than his career in acting, but the former president was one of Tinseltown's leading men in the 40s and 50s. One of the most cringe-inducing rumors about Reagan's time in Hollywood comes from Piper Laurie, his co-star in the 1950 drama Louisa. The actress claims that the GOP icon took her virginity when he was 39 years old and she was only 18. In her memoir, Laurie writes that she was first seduced by Reagan on the set of their film Louisa, in which he was playing her father. The actor was supposedly a gentleman at first and even asked Laurie's mother for permission to take her on a date, but instead of the glamorous evening the actress had pictured, Reagan instead took them both to his house, where he cooked hamburger steak and salad. Things got stranger when Reagan led her back to the bedroom. According to Laurie, the actor was an insensitive show-off in bed and made sure not to brag only about the length of time he had already been erect, 40 whole minutes, but also about how much his condom had cost. Number 23. Kevin Spacey.
That's right. What would Christmas Eve be without a message from me?
The actor came out as gay after actor Anthony Rapp said Spacey tried to sexually assault him when he was 14 years old. Those on the set of the show House of Cards say Spacey made the work environment toxic and there was a pattern of sexual harassment. 8 people who worked on the set said the actor sexually harassed or assaulted them, and at least 15 people have accused him of sexual misconduct. Number 22. Michael Winner. Oscar winner Dame Helen Mirren, who commands respect and awe wherever she goes today, has said that back in 1964, at the tender age of 19, she was just another plaything to director Michael Winner. Mirren, now 72, said she will never forget how, during an audition, Winner made her flaunt her body as he leered. "I was mortified and incredibly angry," she told Richard Madley and Judy Finnegan in a 2007 television interview. "I thought it was insulting and sexist, and I don't think any actress should be treated like that, like a piece of meat, at all." As Weinstein has downplayed his sexual aggressions, so did Winner, telling The Guardian he didn't remember ordering Mirren to turn around. "But if I did, I wasn't being serious." Number 21. Louis C.K.
That was 2010, I guess.
Yeah.
That was the first year of the show. I think that was from the pilot. I think
Yeah,
that was
maybe from the pilot.
Comedian Louis C.K. recently admitted, in the wake of some accusations that were part of the Me Too movement, that he had exposed himself to and masturbated in front of women. These women were in his industry, and the settings were often work-related, either offices or hotel rooms after the gig was finished and the bars were shut. Number 20. Jeffrey Jones.
Well, there it is. Well, there it is. Well, there it is. Now.
Known for his roles as Emperor Joseph II in Amadeus and Edward R. Rooney in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Jeffrey Jones is a successful actor, but also part of the crowd of celebrity pedophiles. Jones was arrested in 2003 for the possession of child pornography. It was later discovered that he had hired a 14-year-old boy to pose for lewd photographs. Jones made the boy pose naked with a cowboy hat, a stuffed animal, and as an Indian. Number 19. Ron Hull.
Thank you.
Ron Hull was a television presenter who had an emu puppet sidekick. Hull and the puppet appeared on shows like Emu's Broadcasting Company and Emu TV throughout the 70s and 80s. He died in 1999 after he fell off his roof while adjusting a television antenna. In Eric Bristow's autobiography, The Crafty Cockney, Bristow claims that Hull used his emu puppet to get creepy with people. He used the puppet to feel up women and stick his hand between people's legs. It was out of order. Number 18. Richard Dreyfuss.
I should have had a long answer. The appropriate for the children in the audience answer. He's an Irish.
The actor was accused of exposing himself to a writer and harassed her for years back in the 80s. A writer who worked for Richard Dreyfuss on a TV comedy special in the 80s said he sexually harassed her for years and exposed himself to her in a studio lot trailer. Jessica Teach told the New York magazine blog Vulture.com that the actor made continual, overt, and lewd comments and invitations after they met at a theater where she worked and Dreyfuss appeared. Number 17. Bob Villard.
Then we can...
Young River Phoenix.
Stardom started early for Leon.
Bob Villard was one of the biggest child managers in the industry. He represented some of the most famous young names in Hollywood, including Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire. But if the system had worked correctly, he would not have been allowed anywhere near any of them. Even before DiCaprio started acting in 1987, Villard was charged with possession of child pornography. The prosecution, though, failed to prove it in court, and so Villard went free and kept working with kids. It took until 2001 before they got him in jail. Villard was caught with a whole collection of sexually explicit pictures of young boys. It did not take long before Villard hurt someone. By 2005, he was caught sexually assaulting a 13-year-old boy he had courted as a client. Number 16. Brad Pitt.
For divorce from Brad Pitt.
You know, what's that expression? It's how well you walk through the fire, but you walk through it.
Long before Angelina Jolie's allegations of domestic violence, actor Brad Pitt was accused of a sex crime. Namely, in 1988, Brad was charged with indecent exposure for allegedly mooning drivers on the Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu. The actor was fined $450 and given 2 years of probation. Luckily for Mr. Pitt, this happened before 1994, which is when Megan's Law requirement to register as a sex offender was introduced. Otherwise, he would have been classified as a Tier 1 sex offender. Number 15. Martin Weiss. Martin Weiss was a Hollywood manager who specialized in finding kids. He had his share of successes. Nickelodeon and Disney both used him as a talent scout and took on the kids that he found. The whole time, though, he was using his position to abuse children. Weiss used his position to take advantage of 11-year-old Evan Henze more than 30 times over a period of years. It took until Henze was 14 to work up the courage to press charges. Weiss pled no contest and was sentenced to 1 year in jail. But since he had served the prison time while he was waiting for his trial date, he was released as soon as he was convicted. Number 14. Louis B. Mayer. Studio head Louis B. Mayer terrorized Hollywood's women long before Harvey Weinstein, according to a recent headline in the UK's Telegraph. Mayer would direct a 16-year-old Judy Garland to sit on his lap, whereupon he'd palm her left breast while telling her, "You sing from the heart," a creepy anecdote Garland recalled in her memoir. And an 11-year-old Shirley Temper got her first, and she thought hilarious, peek at the male anatomy courtesy of MGM producer Arthur Freed, who once dropped his pants during a meeting. Temple burst into laughter at the sight and was promptly ordered out of the room. Number 13. Errol Flynn.
I needn't tell most of you that a regiment is something more than just 600 disciplined fighting men.
Errol Flynn was the pervert of Hollywood perverts. Rebel, pervert, leecher, charmer, brawler, and drunkard, Errol Flynn was also a star and one of the great icons of the 20th century. Errol Flynn loved him some jailbait, like teenage girls were his absolute favorite, even when he was in his late 40s. Flynn was even charged with statutory rape twice, and while his court case was making headlines, he picked up another teenage girl and married her. Number 12. Bryan Singer. The director has previous sexual assault allegations involving teenage boys on his rap sheet. In 2014, an actor named Michael Egan III filed a lawsuit alleging Singer drugged him and forced him to have sex at various parties in Encino in Hawaii when he was just 15 years old. Another alleged victim said he was 14 when Singer asked him to shower in the nude for a film. Another alleged victim described Singer's misconduct in a series of tweets. Singer allegedly groped the man's butt and placed his finger down his pants. The tweets have since been deleted. Number 11. Mark Collins Rector. Singer was not the only person at these parties. They were held by Mark Collins Rector, the owner of a media company called Den. Collins Rector hired Egan as an actor, and he was the one who invited him. At these parties, according to Egan, adult men floated drugs and alcohol to teenage boys and used them for sex. Not only were they underage, but it was not always consensual. Egan claims that Collins Rector pinned him down and violently sexually abused him, in one case holding a gun to his head and threatening to shoot him if he did not stop resisting. Number 10. Bill Cosby.
This is one of those shows, man. Bank this one forever, you know.
Stand-up comedian and actor William Henry Cosby, famous for his role as Cliff Huxtable on The Cosby Show, was loved by everyone and even earned the title of America's Dad. Or, at least, this was the case until January 2004, when the sexual assault charges started pouring in. In 2018, Cosby was finally convicted of drugging and assaulting Andrea Constand and was given 3 to 10 years in prison. But, as with most famous rapists and predators, this was not the only sexual assault trial Cosby was involved in. Number 9. Alfred Hitchcock.
I hope you'll excuse me if I appear a trifle excited, but I've just come into possession of a cure for...
He was the master of suspense and thriller and the name behind many successful films, but behind the scenes, Alfred Hitchcock was a man who took an apparently perverted pleasure in torturing his female stars, physically and emotionally. According to Alfred Hitchcock and his leading ladies, Hitchcock lusted after his leading ladies, and the cruelty he showed them fueled and ruined his high-flying career. The then 65-year-old Hitch had made no secret of his desire for Tippi, who was already married with a baby. Tippi did her best to discourage Hitchcock's advances, but when the pair were reunited for Marnie, the 26-stone director's obsession grew worse. But despite the warning signs, even Tippi wasn't prepared for what Hitchcock did next. He stared at me and simply said, as if it were the most natural thing in the world, that from this time on, he expected me to make myself sexually available and accessible to him, however and whenever and wherever he wanted. Number 8. Roman Polanski. Rosemary's Baby director Roman Polanski initially had sympathy when pregnant wife Sharon Tate was murdered in 1969. But then details emerged of how he gave a 13-year-old aspiring actress champagne and quaaludes before having sex with her during a photo shoot in 1977. The Polish director fled the United States before final sentencing and still has an outstanding warrant on that charge. Number 7. Jason James Murphy. The kids in some of the most successful movies of the past 15 years were handpicked by Jason James Murphy, a convicted pedophile. Before he became a casting director, Murphy lived in Seattle where, according to court papers, he became obsessed and in love with an elementary school boy. Murphy tried to lure the young boy away, promising they would live together in London. Then he took it even further. In 1996, Murphy disguised himself as a woman and kidnapped the child. He put him on a plane, flew him off to New York City, and kept him in a shared hotel room. The boy was only rescued when a hotel clerk saw their faces on America's Most Wanted and called the cops. 5 years later, though, Murphy was back on the streets and pretty soon was working as a casting director. Number 6. Elvis Presley.
How you doing?
I'm leaving you, and I'm taking Lisa with me.
Another figure who needed to tread very carefully with regards to his personal behavior was the king himself, Elvis Presley. Most people will know that Elvis was married to Priscilla Wagner, but what is not quite so widespread is the fact that when the two began dating, Elvis was already 24 years of age, but Priscilla was still only 14. Presley had openly admitted on a number of occasions to a bit of a habit when it came to the company of younger girls. Presley was particularly fond of sharing his bed with young teenage girls who wear white panties. This is already disturbing enough before you consider that Elvis told Fine that he would never have sex with these girls because, in his words, they were jailbait. This really raises more questions than it answers, and I'm certainly not suggesting that Elvis should have taken advantage of those girls because that's just beyond horrendous. But what exactly was the point of having those girls sleep half naked next to him in bed, if not for some perverse satisfaction? Number 5. Woody Allen.
So happens. Did you whistle at me? Not long ago, I sold a
The allegations from his daughter and his marriage to his adoptive stepdaughter have left many questioning the legacy of this once revered filmmaker. Some of the biggest names in cinema have been accused of pedophilia. The worst of all has to be Woody Allen, who was accused of raping his own daughter. Allen's daughter, Dylan Farrow, claims, "Then he sexually assaulted me." It does not help Allen's case that he married his adoptive stepdaughter, nor does it help his case that his own son, Ronan Farrow, also thinks he did it. "I believe my sister," Ronan said. He was not there to see it happen, but he confirmed something else his sister had claimed. Woody Allen, both children agree, would climb into Dylan's bed at night and force her to suck his thumb. Number 4. Harvey Weinstein.
The love of that kind of cinema, foreign language cinema, that came from her. She had a very...
The producer whose predatory behavior was an open secret in Hollywood for decades. Over 80 women accused Weinstein of harassment, assault, and rape, leading to his conviction and a reckoning in the film industry. More than 30 women have now come forward with stories of being propositioned, harassed, or worse by Harvey Weinstein over the past 3 decades. The accusations are so sickening that in recent days, his wife left him, friends and political allies ditched him, his own company booted him, the organization that runs the Oscars voted to expel him, and France's president said he wants to strip him of his Legion of Honor award. Number 3. Daryl F. Zanuck.
Certainly moviegoers wonder the same thing. Have you ever made a picture that you considered great and yet the public rejected it?
Yes, I have.
His daily routine involved exploiting young actresses, and his actions were so notorious that they became a part of Hollywood's dark lore. Hollywood producer Daryl F. Zanuck was legendary in the industry, but not just for the movies he made. Zanuck worked his way through actresses on the sofa in his office faster than the credits rolled on his flicks. His daily betting of budding starlets operated like clockwork. At 4 p.m. every day, his Fox Century City studio would shut down while Zanuck shuttled a young woman through a subterranean passage to his green-paneled office, according to Harris and Deadline Hollywood. Number 2. Clara Bow.
Yes. She's here with Jack Carter.
Mother.
Mother?
I was just...
Her wild lifestyle was the subject of scandalous rumors that eventually ruined her career, including allegations of public sex, substance abuse, and even more shocking claims. Beautiful Clara Bow was one of the biggest stars of the 1920s, famous for being one of Hollywood's first sex symbols. But by 1931, a series of scandalous rumors had erupted around the movie industry's first it girl, ruining her career and resigning her to a life of anonymity. The rumors about Bo were shocking and ludicrous even by today's standards. The Coast Reporter ran a 3-week series about the actress's private life, claiming that poor Clara was an irredeemable alcoholic, a drug abuser, and a gambler. She was supposedly the mistress of multiple men, had sex in public and threesomes with prostitutes, and would sleep with women when no men were available, or dogs when she couldn't find a human. The biggest whopper was that she regularly held orgies for the USC football team and would sexually service every player there. Number 1. Charlie Chaplin. Chaplin was obsessed with young women, having confessed to having had sex with over 2,000 women. He would find young women to star in his movies, oftentimes just teenagers, seduce them, and then drop them for the next one as soon as the girl began to fall in love. When they would get pregnant, he would tell them to get abortions and show his contempt for them. One girl, whom he married in secret after she became pregnant, was standing outside on the platform at the back of the train after the ceremony, and Chaplin walked up to her and said, "This would be a good time to put an end to your misery. Why don't you jump?" According to film historian Kevin Browning, Charles would only communicate with the actress he was auditioning via caption cards and mime, supposedly to test their ability to perform in silent movies. The cards would become ever more lewd and suggestive as he got them to undress, and he would fondle their breasts in an exaggerated silent movie acting manner. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's hidden secrets. Check out our other videos right here for more shocking stories. See you next time.